All right. Let's see. Right. Never seems to keep its shape. Anyway.
Tutorial, we'll have a look at the depth buffers in OpenGL and also see how we can make use of them for a little graphical effect. You might remember that we've already made use of the depth buffer in the Going 3D tutorial in order to fix a weird issue we had. Since the buffer is turned off by default, we want to make sure we have it enabled and that we clear it each frame just like the color buffer. Now, what this buffer basically does is that it stores depth values that represent how far away from the near plane of the projection matrix a certain fragment is. A depth value of 0 meaning that it's right on the near plane, and of 1 meaning that it's on the far plane. Using this depth information, we can assess which object should be in front of which other object. We can do this by using the glDepth function and insert.
Yep, this is more like it. Let's see. Show you guys. Let's see. Boop. Yeah. That's what I mean. That. Actually, command, what does it do? Yeah. That's all I really needed. Because that's just half of what you need. So, okay, it tells you what the command is. After that, it'll tell you basically how it's supposed to be written out. Parameters and everything else. So... Oops.
By default,
no, it's quiet.
GLS, which means that if the depth value of an object is less than that of the current depth value, then the first value replaces the second. In most circumstances, you should use GLS, but I suppose you could also choose one of the others if you want your game or application to be mind-bending. Now the cool part. Let's
main. Come on.
visualize the depth buffer. We can easily do this by going.
Just make sure. Okay. No, that one. Oh, and before I do, let's see. Okay. Not that. Not that either. Definitely not that. Yep, okay. It just counts it as this. So, in terms of that, click U, get control. Okay, let's see. Back to main. Close you out. Ah. Yep. Removed you, so applies to all. That means Fragnar comes through. Yep, there we go. Isn't it magical how two little freaking symbols can ruin hundreds, if not thousands, of lines of code? But yeah, that's from the previous one. So it definitely works. No light sources, though. Which, that's fine. Alright. So that means when I do this... and I have the Dilophosaurs freaking running around trying to spit me in the face. Yep, still works. That's all that I need to know.
Fragment shader and
Ah.
outputting GL frag coordinates that set as the frag. The problem is that as soon as we press run, you'll notice that the screen is mostly pure white. The only
Okay. Let's try it. Yep. Good. Yep, no. And he's also using other assets, so that's actually helping.
only way to see a bit of darkness is to get very close to an object. This is due to the fact that the depth in OpenGL is not linear. If the depth was linear, then we would have the same amount of precision for depth at a close distance as we would at a far away distance. Since we almost always focus on things that are close to us, we want to make the precision be very high near us and low away from us. This is achieved by using this formula. Don't worry, we don't have to implement it since OpenGL does it automatically. Sometimes though, you want to use another formula, so in order to do that, we must first get the z value by linearizing the depth function, which can be done using this function.
Yeah, let's just leave it as this. Because I may have to, I'm gonna eventually make something else. Then we'll rely on me working on this. Okay. Okay, yeah, I knew I was right.
Now using this function, we get a z value which, keep in mind, is not normalized. This value is simply the distance from the near plane. So let's declare the near and far constant. Of our frustum and divide the linear depth by the far length to quickly.
Okay, he makes changes. Like I said, this isn't really teaching, it's just showing you how to get from A to B. We don't tell you how you got from A to B.
Normalize it just to see.
The good news, this is short, so it's just a small add-on, essentially. Divided by 5.
It just to see what the results look like. Now let's just look at a quick problem you can get, and then I'll show you the cool effect we can achieve with diff buffers. So the main issue that arises from diff buffers is called z-fighting, and it occurs because two or more triangles have the same diff buffer, and thus the diff function can't decide which one is closer than the other, and thus it keeps changing between them constantly. An easy fix to this is usually to make sure you don't have triangles that are too close to one another and parallel. If z-fighting appears at a faraway distance, then you might also consider tweaking the function of the diff buffer so that you have more precision at that distance. And the final trick is to use a bigger integer for the diff buffer. Usually by default, it uses 24 bits, but you could change it to 32 bits if your card supports it. This will increase the precision and thus decrease the chance of z-fighting. Now for the cool effect. We can take the z value and plug it into a logistic function for which we have a steepness parameter and an offset parameter. The steepness will control how fast the diff value changes from close to 0 to close to 1, and the offset will determine at what z value this change is halfway done. The cool thing about this is that this can give you smooth edges for the end of your frustum if you want that. But the even nicer thing is that this can somewhat simulate a fog effect. So let's change our background color to a. This can somewhat simulate a nicer. But the end of your frustum, if you want that. But the even nicer.
No, whoops.
The end of your frustum is that this can give will determine at what z value this.
Yeah, because fogs are commonly used anyway. So, I might also have to rip these videos off, just in case. There's always someone who wants to change something.
Change is halfway done. The cool thing about this is that this can give you smooth edges.
Actually, let me show you it. Well, put you there. Close real quick, I need to see something. Okay.
About this is that this can give you smooth edges for the end of your frustum if you want that, but the even nicer thing is that this can somewhat simulate a fog effect. So let's change our background
Yeah, and that's the whole idea.
color to a gray and calculate the depth value using our function.
See, and that's what I mean. Going that fast does not help.
Then multiply our usual erect light by the reverse of our depth value and also add the depth value times the gray.
Minus depth.
Gray color from before. Now we should have a nice simple fog effect. Keep in mind that you might need to adjust the steepness and offset a bit to get it just right. Have fun playing around with different effects, and as always, the source code and resources are in the description.
Oh. I mean, theoretically, I should still be able to do it with the resources that it has. Theoretically. Theoretically. Yep. And just to make sure I actually got it right. Yeah, clear color. Figure. Nothing wrong with trying to be certain. Well, here's the other issue too. Made a fog. Forgets that the model that he gave to demonstrate another way of rendering, it's quite large. So yeah. Oh, hello. Error fragment. Shader. Do. Which is good, but I think it's under shader? Not the class. Because, there we go. Yep, shader compilation error. Yeah, didn't compile it correctly. So when I throw it up, shader compilation error fragment. Which, there's one thing I want to add to the error. A space. So when it does throw the error, I at least be able to read it. Instead of it being smashed together. Just to throw it up again. There we go. Compile errors, compile errors. So, let's see. Yeah. Oh, god damn it. Depth buffer. Because what I need is default frag. Because there's a certain thing I didn't change from previously. I just wanted to get it working. Not a good idea. So, I'm going to go through line by line. Yep, okay. Just make sure you're on. Oh, what color? Text coordinates. My position, vec3. Then, of course, the point light and everything else. I don't think... Spotlight... Because the lights we just made and then that was it. We didn't bother with anything else. You have direct light and then spotlight. We got a near, a far. Linearize. Depth. Yep, I found the error. I had a question mark instead of a parentheses. So if I run it now, still an error. That was one error out of how many others? 2.0 times near times far divided by far plus near minus depth times 2 minus 1. Yeah, because the operations, that's the main thing. Because you don't understand that or have that one, yeah. And that's the idea. So some of the math, I can understand why they do it that way. Float depth, float steepness, 0.5, float offset, 5. Huh, okay. Thought I needed that, no. Just a function. Z-val, linearize depth. Just to make sure I got it spelled right. Because it has to be verbatim for every letter, every capitalization. If not, it screws it up. Return 1 divided by 1 plus exp, whatever that is. And that's what I mean. It's the only one in here by itself. So you got something in here that's being called but isn't anywhere else. Negative steepness times z-value minus offset. Of course, all the parentheses to make sure it's lined up right. You have main, logistic depth, frag coordinates, z, depth and color. Direct light times 1.0 minus depth plus vec4. Depth times vec3. Then you have the colors, and then you have... No, it's showing. So what's the error? So, we'll do what we've done before. I'll take this code, I'll copy it, and then place it in here. This is my little way. There we go. I'll be able to see how to compare code between the two. No error. Well, that's freaky. Alright, close you down. Since the code works, at least on his end, I'll have to find the error. And I definitely don't want the debt, I should say. Get you to run. You know, I'm getting sick of you, so I'm gonna put you over there. There. Okay, click. Now here's the thing. Whoa, didn't want you to do that. So when the code works, yeah, it'll still render it. It's just, yeah, it's a little freaky. And of course, you know, I have to mess with it a little bit here and there for a fog effect, but you got a fog effect. And of course, you know, I'm gonna need some way to translate between the multiple. Okay, that's a little. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to need to keep this because the fog effects, say like you want a horror game or something, you're gonna need it. You're really going to need it. Actually, huh. I see the vertices, and they tell me. Oh, I'm at the wrong place. Yeah. That's sometimes how you can see inside of a model. So yeah, this is definitely going to be useful. Now, of course, you know, I think I might go, quote unquote, old school and decide not to make, you know, UIs and everything else in it to just click around and then edit inside of this. I'm just going to do it through the code. Just make the menus, everything else, kind of like as if it's doing it from scratch. I think I'm going to have to double it. So when I make that new engine, it'll be on its own. Something to mess around, test, make it more efficient, yada yada. This one would be basically encompassing the creation of the games. And of course, you know, copy and paste, essentially. It's only been half an hour. That's the good news.
This is your brain.
Ah. But yeah, no. Basically, at this point, it is done. It's just getting all the little other tidbits in here. Like he was showing with the fog and everything else. Like, might as well. Here we go. That way I can... Yeah, I still maybe need to mess with Visual Studio a little bit so I can actually see what the hell I'm able to do with it. Because quite frankly, yeah, me looking at the code in that site, it would work? No, not model loading. Model loading started giving me issues. But I think it's because I was trying to keep up with things and didn't put it in the right order, so I screwed with it. Frag. Yeah, because the only thing that I'm having trouble right now is a frag. Because whatever error is popping up, it's definitely from previous code. Okay. Delete those. Because I think I kind of got a grasp of how this... So, okay, you have the depth, you have the color, you know, well, that's the point of the frag, is to do the color. How you want to do the color is mainly, well, out to the previous code, honestly. So, out vec4, frag color, we'll do it one more time. In vec3, position, normal. So I don't like acronyms. I mean, hell, they even tell you not to do acronyms. Vec3, vec3, vec2, 3332, current position, normal, color, text coordinate. Then uniform samplers. Yeah, you're basically getting the texture units, diffuse 0, specular 0. Vec4, vec3. Vec3 camera position, vec4 point light. Just to make sure, let's just actually go through this. Light position, current. Blah. Just in case if, you know, he might have added something very quickly. Oh, I think I'm going to spend, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and spend some of the time of the stream to fix it. F 0.5 normalize. And that's what I was thinking. Yeah. That's the only thing with the checker in that shader. It doesn't have anything in there. Well, at least to show you the address, or at least tell you what went wrong. Just says something went wrong. Okay, where? Granted, at least it tells you something went wrong, so can't be too mad at that. Yeah, and this is the actual spotlight for you can do certain lights like that. And then, of course, you gotta give it the lights and everything else. Yep, it's basically the same across the board. Of course, intensity, the reflections, yada yada. But, plus ambient, yeah, float near, float far. Linearize depth. Just to be certain. Turn 2. Well, no, I know that works. But see, here's the thing. Return 1 divided by 1 plus ext. EXP. But what the hell is EXP? 3, 4, yep. Depth, linearized depth. Logistic depth. Which, it's fine. DL underscore frac chord. No? Frac color. Direct light, nothing. Times 1.0f minus depth plus vec 4. Depth times vec 3. Then I mean, wait a minute. 8 point. Hold on. I swear to God, if it's because of that, where's my yeah, these are off. So 0.85, and then go back to default frag 9, and then 1. It should still pop up as an error though, because I shouldn't be nope, yep, still popped up as an error. So you know what? Instead of wasting time here, waste my own time later. Yeah, because I don't know. I also want to make sure I can find the code. Now when I'm scrolling, I can see the giant line of freaking asterisks. So when I run it, still gives me a error. Oh, where's the... Nope, there we go. Error's gone. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, to say it really blends in is a understatement. Holy crap. So yeah, having that color the way it was really did help. But my God. Just blends in. Alright. That's all I really need. I'll figure out what the hell what the difference is. Because the only thing was messed with was the frag and the main, and even then, that's not really...
Tutorial, we'll take a look at the stencil buffer and how we can use it to create useful effects such as outlining a model. So the stencil buffer, just like the depth buffer, holds a value for each pixel you can see, these values being used for image masking in general. Unlike the depth buffer though, where each pixel holds between 2 and 4 bytes of data, for the stencil buffer, each pixel holds 1 byte of data, so values from 0 to 255. But you'll mainly only use the values of 0 and 1. So let's look at how we can work with this new buffer. First of all, we have the function glStencilMask that allows us to choose which parts of the stencil buffer we want to be able to modify. It simply takes a pixel from the mask and the corresponding pixel from the stencil buffer and applies a bitwise AND comparison on them. Keep in mind each pixel has a byte of data, so 8 bits. A bitwise AND operation compares each bit with its corresponding counterpart and only outputs 1 if they're both 1. Therefore, if we input 0x00 into glStencilMask, which means that we have 8 bits equal to 0, then all the comparisons will fail and the stencil buffer won't change at all. But if we input 0xFF into glStencilMask, then all the bits of the mask will be 1, since 0xFF is equal to 8 ones, and so we'll be able to modify any part of the stencil buffer. Now let's look at two. more functions we can make use of: glStencilFunc and glStencilOp. glStencilFunc allows us to control how the stencil buffer passes a test or fails a test, while glStencilOp allows us to dictate what happens when the stencil test fails, when the stencil test passes but the diff test fails, and when both pass. Let's take a deeper look at glStencilFunc. It takes in 3 arguments: a function, a reference value, and a mask. The function can be one of these, by default being set to glAlways, so the test always passes. The reference value is simply the value we use to compare in the function. Notice how before comparing the stencil value with the reference value, we apply a bitwise AND operation to both using the mask. This means that if we want to compare the numerical value of the two accurately, you will want your mask to be 0xFF so that nothing changes. Now for glStencilOp, it has 3 arguments: sFail, dpFail, and dpPass. These stand for stencil fail, dip fail, and dip pass. For all of these, you can choose between the following options. By default, they all have glKeep, which basically means that nothing changes. There is not really much more to say about these functions, so if you want to know more about them, look them up in the documentation. The stencil buffer can be used for many things, such as portals, mirrors, and more, but an easy feature to implement is outlining of models, so let's take a look at that. We first want to render our object like we normally do, and update the stencil buffer with once everywhere we have a fragment from our object, and 0 everywhere we do not have a fragment from our object. This will essentially create a figure like this. Then we want to disable writing to the stencil buffer so we do not accidentally modify it, and also disable diff testing so that we can make sure the next object we draw will be completely in front of the previous one. Now we want to render a scaled up version of the object we had before, but this time in a flat color and with the following condition. We only draw its fragments where the stencil value is not 1, so basically not where the silhouette of the previous object was. Then we just restore writing to the stencil and enable the diff buffer again. That's all we have to do. Now let's implement it in code. We start off by enabling our stencil buffer using
Yeah. Just one quick question. Yeah, I think he just created an issue for me. Yep, he did. So that can stay, but I needed to mess with a frag again.
gl enable gl stencil test and making sure we also have our diff buffer enabled. Then we use gl stencil op plugging in glKeep, and gl replace. This will make it so that when both the diff and stencil tests pass, we'll use the reference value specified by glStencil function. Now let's make sure
Because I can also have to. This is where I had to add my own notes. You say, for example, okay, you want to do something like Borderlands. Fine. That's perfectly fine. Here's the issue. You're not going to want to keep doing it, or you're not going to want to keep it on all the time. So
sure we clear all the buffers before each frame and go on to the part where the magic happens.
Underscore buffer.
First, we specify our stencil test always passes and set the reference value to 1. Then we enable writing to all of our stencil buffer with a stencil mask of all ones. And now,
Wait.
stencil buffer with a stencil mask.
Where's my draw? There's my draw. Especially if I want to code a game purely through code.
Mask of all ones. And now we simply draw our object. By this point in time, our stencil buffer looks like this, and our color buffer looks like this. Remember that all these values are 1 because we specified in the GLStencil function that if both the stencil and the test pass, then make the pixel of the stencil buffer equal to 1. Now for the outline, we want our stencil test to only pass when it's not equal to 1 and the div test passes. Then we disable our div buffer for previously mentioned reasons and disable writing to the stencil mask so we can keep our original silhouette. Now, since we want to make the outline a flat color, we'll have to create 2 new shaders and the shader program. So let's...
Okay.
First create the shader program like...
Yep. And that's the one thing most people will never bother to understand. Well, I'd say most. Most people who don't deal with this. It's like, yeah, game engine is a crap ton of programs all running simultaneously.
Like so. Then for outlining that frag, we simply want to return a color, while for outlining that bird, for outlining that frag, we simply want to return a color, while for
Oh, god damn it, freaking YouTube.
to return a color.
Just want to hold something, you can't do it. Alright, so alright, so we got the frag.
While for outlining that part, we want to get a position and all the uniforms related to transformations, plus a new float uniform called outlining, which will multiply with the scale matrix.
Translation, rotation, scale. Nope.
Now back in the main function, we'll want to send that outlining uniform to the shader with a value of something like 1.08. Then we simply draw the same object again, but this time using the other shader. So the last step we need to do is to enable writing to the whole stencil, clear it by always passing the test and replacing the values with 0, and enabling the def buffer. Now, if
Oh, hi. God, I got so busy that I didn't realize someone had come in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to fix this. If we're gonna be streaming, I need to be a little more attentive. Because, yeah, I need, for my own screen at least,
If you run the program, you should see an outline around your object. If your object has its origin at its geometrical center, and if it doesn't have very complex shapes, then the outline probably looks fine. In my case though, you can see that the origin is not at the center, since the outline is skewed upwards, and that the shapes are pretty complex with many curves. Therefore, this method won't work that well. A better method that doesn't take much would be to
okay. Well, before I do that, he's invert. Okay. Just for our own little curiosity's sake. Error in the vertex and fragment. See, this is why I get sick of it. It's just... I, it's like, I hate it when you can copy someone verbatim and it always ends up in errors. Oh, because they forget something or they modified something, and it's like... With code, it's a necessity to tell every little detail. Otherwise, yeah. Okay. So let's see. The fact that it's throwing two errors, vertex and frag. The only thing I assume is the two new freaking the two new files. The problem is I know I copied them perfectly. Yep. Yeah, back three. Model times translation times rotation times scale times outlining times vec 4 a position 1.0 f and GL position is cam matrix times vec 4 current position 1.0. So there's nothing to nothing here. You know about frag's even simpler. So yeah. Those are the two worst ones to have an issue with.
import the normals in the vertex shader and add these to the position vector, multiplying them by the outlining, which will remove from the scale matrix, and we which will now lower from 1.08 to 0.08.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Test the mass. Continue stencil again. Test, activate. 1F, yeah. Draw the outline. Like I said, it's ridiculous.
Now when scaling the vectors, instead of scaling them from their origin, we are sort of scaling them outwardly from the model using the normal as a reference for what outward means. This will give you much better results with one exception. If you have hard edges, then your normals will be close to perpendicular to one another, and so will create a little gap when expanding the model. Therefore, a third solution to this would be to simply have another model that's bigger than the first one. To be more specific, it has to be thicker, not necessarily bigger. You can achieve something like this using Blender's Solidify modifier. Here you can see I have the initial model and the bigger version of it. Now I've already exported both as different models and I only have to import them into my program like so. Then instead of drawing the object a second time, I simply draw the bigger version of it, this time not even needing a uniform to scale it. And as you can see, this gives the best results, though at the cost of doubling the storage cost. You could of course make a function similar to the solidify function that Blender has, but that would be a bit slightly more complicated for this tutorial. That was it for this tutorial. As always, the source code is in the...
Yeah, we're gonna keep that off. Here's the thing. Like I said, there's issues. And it seems like it always seems to be the same thing too. A depth buffer. Okay, that one. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna need it. Simply because the fog effect, especially if you're talking about over distance, you're gonna need it. But let's see. There you go. Get these two. Because it's saying both the frag and the vertices are not working, which makes no sense given how I'm supposedly copied it. Eh. So, frag, put you off to the side. This is vert. Alright, fine. Let's start with vert. I swear to God, if he... Hold on. No. Here's vert. I'm staring at it. He's on outlining vert. Here's the funny thing. No. Yeah, still the same. Yep. Scale. Oh, for fuck's sake. He added notes out the ass on this one. Let me just look. Nope.
Now back in...
He doesn't have it. He didn't have Vec3 on current position. That's why it freaking, yeah, has an error. It doesn't know what it's sending. Yeah. Tiny issues, massive problems. Okay, fine. Go to frag. Because they both have issues. Frag color, vec4, get the four vectors. Oh, vec4, frag color. I mean, this it's very hard to screw that one up. However, it's still gonna throw it, isn't it? Yep. And it still has vertex errors. Oh, like I said, it's infuriating. It's beyond freaking infuriating because it's just this is probably the most simplest code you can have, and it's still screwed up in some way. It's like how do you screw that up? Because if it works on this, which of course I'm gonna have to do this real quick. If it gets rid of that error, doesn't get rid of the error. This is why I rather, like I said, I rather build it together first and then tear it all down because there's no fucking point. You're not teaching by just showing how to get to A to B. You need to know how you got from A to B, along with getting from A to B. It's like building a car with no engine. It's like, okay, great, wonderful. You got me from how to build a car, but you forgot the vital component, the thing that runs it. And it's infuriating. So the fact it still has it, I'm going to ignore it. And that's why it's like stencils, yeah, it's a tool, but freaking, there's no point. I'll deal with this on my own time. When I mean my own time, I mean freaking whenever I feel like it, because honestly, there's no point to me using the stencils at this point, or at this moment, I should say. No, I had it right. Okay, vertices is off. I need to get rid of the frag. Frag is off. Good. Main. Main shouldn't be affected. Go ahead and run it. I should have. I think frag is still fine. So yep. Okay, I gotta change it. I can't see crap. Here, let's put it in a fog. It's too fucking good. No, 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 no. Just give me a slight. Give me half a chance to be able to see what the hell's going on. And no errors, no nothing. I don't see anything. I'm gonna have to turn this stuff off at some point because you know what? Let's do this actually. Let's do. Yeah, leave it like that. It just needs to be a different color. Something else is interfering. Ah, there you go. I don't know how it would work with a different color though. It's got no problems. Shoot. Yeah, this is the issue. Because now I need everything. What else is he doing? You know, when this isn't trying to. Okay, still got an hour. We could do one more. Probably two more, honestly. Depth buffer, face culling, FPS counter, transparency, blending, frame buffer, post processing. I think the more important one would be cube maps and skyboxes. Geometry shader, don't know. Instancing, yes. For the crap I want to pull, yes. Anti-aliasing, kinda. We'll be messing with the Kinda. You actually are messing with both the fragmentation and the vertices. Both those shaders need to be messed with. A blend fong lighting. Yeah, gives more options. Shadow maps. Yeah, there's a whole slew of things in here. Bloom. It's like the stenciling. I'll touch, but I'm not going to. I'm not gonna find it useful because early 2000s. Hey, put bloom everywhere. I can't see anything. So get rid of you. Get rid of you. I need to find out why things aren't working now. Okay. Well, for the most part. Oops. No, you. Do. Yeah, this one we want. We don't want the stencil. Have to coat it off. Ah, I found it. Yeah, that doesn't help if, yeah, he's cut off as well. So draw the stencil, camera, more stenciling. Yeah, draw the model first. Don't tell him not to draw. Yep, there it is. Just wondering what the hell happened. It's like, yeah, it's not gonna draw it if you tell it not to. Okay, so the code's back to where it was. It has a little fog effect, yada yada. I need to, outside of fixing that, I need to go back and fix the frag. Actually, let's do that now before I screw that up. Frag. Default? It shouldn't be light. Yep, there it is. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh! Okay, that's why I'm not too concerned. Right. Let's see. Do 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 do. If I could just spell it right, just to make sure. Yep, just direct light. Yep, compilation error. Fragment. Ugh. It's always nice. Nope, still an error. Yeah. So both vertices and frag, those are too vital. So for the most part, I'm going to do this. Get rid of you both. You. Because, yeah, you can explain how you're doing something. In the end, it doesn't really matter. The person needs to understand what the hell is actually going on. Because if they don't, everything goes to crap. Because it's like same thing with teaching. Like the same with what I found out with one of the schools I was looking at. It's like, yeah, you can throw books and everything else, but that's not teaching. You need to actually experience it. Because if you don't experience it, yep, and there it is. Would you look at that? Background color's all fine and freaking. There you go. So I gotta somehow convert my original code back to this and then have separate code that I can just swap. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I just need a separate code. Okay. Anyway, we'll leave this for now. Now we have two. We have two. Good. All right. So now that when we do it, actually, where's main? Oh, right. This function can stay. It doesn't really matter. All the rest of the stenciling and everything else, I gotta, like I said, I'll figure it out on my own. Let's see, 15 stencil, buffer, and outlining. You know what?
Today I'll show you
There.
what face culling is and how it affects performance. We are also gonna measure this performance change by making an FPS counter. So face culling is a step in the graphics pipeline that decides if a triangle will move on to the fragment shader, aka if the triangle will be drawn or not. OpenGL decides this by seeing which side of the triangle is currently facing the camera. Generally speaking, in most 3D graphics programs, it is the front side of a triangle that is sent to the fragment shader and the back side of a triangle that is discarded. The way OpenGL figures out which side is which is by an index convention, which can either be clockwise or counterclockwise. In a counterclockwise framework, if the order of the indices of a triangle are counterclockwise when facing us, then the side we see is the front side. Likewise, if the order of the indices of a triangle are clockwise when facing us, then the side we see is the back side. For a clockwise framework, it's the exact opposite. Most graphic programs use a counterclockwise standard, but don't expect all of them to use this. Now, in order to put all of this into code, we just have to enable the face culling using gl enable with gl call face, specify which face we want to keep, 99% of the time that will be gl front, and then specify the standard we want to use. Again, I suggest using the counterclockwise one since from what I've seen it's more common than the clockwise one. Now, if we run the program, notice that when we get inside an object, we won't be able to see its insides since it contains the backs of the triangles, which get discarded. Therefore, we only see the background. So let's see if this makes any difference with the background. With the backsides, since it contains the backs of the triangles, which get discarded. See, it's
Which, for the most part, yeah, you're gonna want anyway. So, yeah, well, I'll go ahead and do this one because performance. Everyone loves performance. Let's see. Before I do, it's called fog. Do GL call score face. But it's always about the same thing. Actually, it should work as just enabling certain things. So, boom, boom, works, and then I should. Nope. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. If thing. If only Shadowplay wasn't being a dick right now and trying to freaking dictate what I can and cannot see. There you go. Yep. And it's all kinds of messed up. Now you can just see inside of it. Yeah. Yeah, because the fact I can, actually see inside of it created a new problem. And it could be the model, granted, but still. Yeah, GL enable, coal face, front, GL coal face, front face, and now I'm going to switch it to clockwise, just to see if there's a difference. Curiosity's sake. Oh, would you look at that? So yeah, I am definitely listening. It's just yeah, it works. It freaking works. Yeah. Hey, look, guys, it's video game. You give it a calling, it's like, yeah, you'll take a performance hit, but freaking, I don't know. I just don't know. But hey, it works. All I had to do was swap it. This is gonna be fun.
From what I've seen, is more common than the clockwise one. Now, if we run the program, you'll notice
No,
that when we
whoops.
hit the background. So let's see if this makes any difference in performance. For that, we'll need an FPS counter, which I'll display in the title of the window. Let's start by creating 3 doubles for the previous time.
Uh, okay. Let's see where he's at. Yeah, because he's not using. Let's see. Yeah, he's doing parent directories. Yeah, he keeps modifying his code. So when you move from one to the next lesson, it doesn't. Yeah.
The current time, and the difference of these two. Then we also want an unsigned integer that will act as a counter to see how many frames we have in a certain amount of time. Now FPS is now
Come on. Yes, I know. Calm thyself. You know what? think. I think I'll keep these. I'll put like a note and everything. I just need to also add another note elsewhere to remind me that, yeah, certain code needs to be deleted, like this, because you don't need it. Or even, no, I can actually add something else. Add where if a buttons are pushed, yada yada. So we can actually
now
keep it, yeah.
FPS is simply the amount of frames you get in a second. So that means that in order to get the FPS, we can count the number of frames we get in a second, a frame being one loop in our main while loop. But that would also mean that our FPS will get updated only once a second. Instead, let's update it every 30th of a second, for example. To do that, we just need to get a current time in seconds using glfw getTime, the time difference, and increment the counter. Then, if the difference is higher or equal to a 30th of a second, we go ahead with the measurement of the FPS. The FPS will simply be equal to 1 divided by the time difference, which is just the amount of frames in a second that this time difference gives, but the time difference contains multiple frames, which are equal to the counter, so we also need to multiply it with the counter as well. Now we could stop here, counter at
Because, yeah. Shoot. No, you can't see the code. You see none of the code. None of it. In other news, though. Actually, will this work? Uh oh. Oh no. Unreferenced local variable. Which, actually, is it? Ah, crap. Yeah, because the code's unfinished. It won't let me do it. Unreferenced. Where were you? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yep, yep, okay. Boom, 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 boom. You're not errors. Go away. Just need to get rid of those because it's all part of something else. I can show you the world. quite literally, from inside of a sword. Which is funny because freaking I gotta standardize some crap when I put it together. Plus, I got a lot of fixing to do because freaking, well, I would call him an idiot. More like negligent than an idiot. Because he's definitely not an idiot. The problem is freaking you have, well, idiocy in terms of teaching, not so much in knowing your stuff. Because he is most certainly not teaching. So, like I said, just get something that works and then I could tear it apart. I've done it for far too freaking long. And then once I do that, then you can have your little arc. No, maybe. I don't know. There are no such thing as filler lines. Now, Miss I would demand you be flayed for that such a thought process. Besides, he's trying to make a counter, or I say counter, an FPS counter essentially. Which I mean, yeah, but I can just take this and put it elsewhere. That way you can actually access it whenever you want, or rather, whenever it's necessary. Uh, oh, god dang it. You know what? Fine, I'll stick with what he's doing. Because he's doing it every 30 frames. And that's what I mean. It's another counter. It's like, okay, great. Problem. It's another command that, yeah, never seen before. And it might be tied directly to OpenGL, which doesn't help.
as well. Now we could
Because if you don't know the commands, how the hell are you supposed to do anything?
stop here, but it's also useful to know how long a frame takes in terms of milliseconds. To do that, we simply divide the time difference by the counter, which gives us the number of seconds a frame takes, and then multiply that by 1000 to transform it into milliseconds. Then we simply put together the new title and apply it to the window using glfw set window title. Then we want to set the previous time as the current time in order to get the time difference back to 0 and also
No.
set the counter to 0. Now if you start
No
your
fillers.
program, you'll be able to see the amount of frames
Here's the thing though, most of the stuff he has remaining, this is what, 17? And it goes out to 31, which 31, I don't, I think we've been traumatized by Bloom from earlier games. You like Bloom, kids? It's like, oh, okay. I could see 2 million pixels trying to blind me. It's like, eh. Oh, half an hour. God damn. So actually, this will be my last one. Which, I mean, overall, it'll be helpful. At least when I can, do my own little thing. Because I would like to at least know, performance-wise, what the hell is going on with it. Can you stop, computer? That's the one thing I hate. It's like, you should be able to, at will... No. What did I even call you? Did you even have a name? I don't think I even named it. I just called it test, I guess. This does image day. Oh no. Well, I know a new command. This one is yeah, I get screwed with some people with this one. So you just said new window title. About that. What happens if someone plays windowed and I put something in a game where it's like, oh, you entered here, title changes. like, hi. Don't worry about the title change. It'll be all fine. See the fun little things.
Now if you start your program, you'll be able to see the amount of frames you have. If they are stuck on 60, then that means that you have vsync on, which tries to keep your FPS constant to 60 frames per second. If you wish to disable this, then write glfw swap interval 0 in your main function. Keep in mind that this will only be able to deactivate vsync if vsync is not forced by your graphics driver.
If it's not forced. And the graphics drivers have their own little code, so great, wonderful. Anyway, nice to freaking know. So yeah, when it makes sudden changes, because this is, I mean, for my computer, it's definitely gonna be able to handle this. It better be able to handle this. Like, yeah, 60 frames. It's just yeah, it better. But of course, I have to mess with other stuff and try to push it higher.
In any case, I recommend keeping it
Uh,
at 60 frames per second.
try to. But here's the thing. Uh, there we go. You said in the main? Out. Yeah, in the main, but it's gonna be outside the while. Here's the thing. I actually don't know if mine. No, it. Oof. Okay, we got the Fallout 76 issue. Son of a gun. I'm lost. So yeah, that. No. God, no, no. I did not expect to find. Yeah, yeah, I see why. And now I'm scared. Yeah, because once it gets to a certain point, it won't render anymore. So if I get too far, yeah, I have discovered the Fallout 76 problem. I'm literally barely tapping it as much as possible. If it goes too far, yeah. Yeah, it's in the tens of thousands frames per second. And it's not even taking, oh, jeez. It's not even taking a tenth of a second. It's even less than a, jeez. But of course, it creates problems, new problems. Kind of, though. Maybe I can. No, no, no. Stop it. If I start thinking like that. Add another note. As a note to myself, because that's something I want to experiment with. Because if I can go, say, make computers be able to go that high, which I doubt, because everything else is going to be filling the screen. But if I can do that, that would be great. Especially when combined with, well, there's the other one, something from John Carmack with Rage, where he was trying to make mega textures, which, if I can find out how to make one of those without, killing a computer, because 10,000 by 10,000, ooh, actually, what was it? I know 4K by 4K is just, 4,000 times 4,000, which is 16 million, meaning 16 million pixels. What was 10,000? 100 million pic. Yeah, no wonder it was in the freaking gigabytes for a single texture. That's insane. Say it gets so much detail, yes, and so much memory. Proceeds to, this is a very high resolution mesh. Proceeds to render with 5,000 FPS.
But if you don't want to do that, at least make sure that the functions that handle user inputs are put into an if statement that works periodically like this one. Otherwise, the responsiveness of your inputs will vary with your FPS, which you do not want. And just to show that face calling
I may not keep the counter, but I am going to copy that at least. See, and this is what I mean by, well, first let's actually disable you. Actually, you know what? Let's give it a shot. 'Cause that was Fallout 76's problem. It's like, yeah, your FPS determined all this other stuff. It's like, it seems sluggish. Like I said, I think I'd rather, yeah. It doesn't matter though. But it does help with that at least. So, you take you out, take you out, put you back in. And then if I move you through, it should be able to still run everything. Just back to normal at 60. Yep. Yeah, because this is smoother. If like it looks smoother at least. The 10,000, I think it needs something else. Like it's missing something to make it smoothed out. Because you think with higher amount of frames, it should be smoother. The problem is, can it actually, fit it in there?
improves your FPS. Here is a very high resolution model, and the difference
Oh, I thought it was negative. Let me go ahead and swap this over. Because what he's showing is basically, yeah, about 4,000 FPS with the face calling, and it drops about 1,000 with no face calling, which, yeah, in general, probably was saying probably about a quarter. So you're talking about maybe around 10 to 15 frames per second being lost without the face calling. Yeah. So it is definitely necessary for performance.
in FPS. The difference is not big here, but it's noticeable in the numbers. When you have multiple models and a lot of stuff happening, the difference will become even more noticeable. That was it for this tutorial. As always, the source
Yeah. So I'll just be working on the code and everything else. Animations are, I have to go freaking balls deep on it. But that'll be it for this for now. All right, now, however, let's see. Because I'm gonna have to, like I said, I'm gonna have to go ahead and try to fix that. Yada yada. 7 view? You mean if I start clicking, I could get more view? Well, honestly, no. I need. Yeah, I don't need to hear that. Let's see. So I got the FPS counter, which I should actually turn off for now. Because granted, it's good to have. It's definitely good to have. And of course, he puts it up there instead of. Well, I guess no, the title will be a better place. I'll deal with that later. 'Cause at least with that, and of course, I got to deal with all the yeah, the stenciling and everything else. Because like I said, it'll be a useful tool. It's just not that great. Okay. Oh yes, come hither. Let's. Are you? Okay, you're good. Okay, that's set. Then bring you down. Okay. I mean, if I wanted to, yeah, it just resizes. It doesn't actually capture a portion. It just resizes it, which is sad noise for me. But let's see. Uh, if I do this, say I take this off, because I'm trying to figure out. Oh, well, yes, arc. say I do this. Half and half. Okay. Oh. Whoops. No. That's not what needs to be halved. What needs to be halved is... Eh. But then again, hold on. If I put this here, put that there. Oh no, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, uh, isn't it great? At this point, kind of need a second window, or not a second window, second screen, because all of this is getting covered up. Oops, nope. What is OBS showing? Just the coding. Well, let's see. Because what I'm seeing, you know what? Let's actually just go ahead and show it. Not you. I need you. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Just imagine that. So yeah, I can see the chat finally, but the problem is I can't see what the hell I'm doing. And the minute I click off, yeah, OBS will keep that up, but you guys don't need to see that. And I can't see it at all because Windows. So I'm gonna have to try something else. I'll be right back. Go grab something. Okay, I think I got it. Welcome to random person trying to do stuff. Finding out you don't know shit. No, not that. I'm gonna have to fix this on here. Let's see. Do this. So I have idea, and the idea is no, come here. Oops. You already see that I have it split off. I can't really see. So my idea is going to be phone. Ooh. Ow. Ah. Okay. Hmm. All right. So I got one issue. Yes. Let me subscribe to myself. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can try to challenge myself. Yeah. Phone won't work. Yeah. Okay. 15 minutes of me trying to... Yeah, and that just shrinks it, doesn't it? Yep. Oh, that's so wonderful. So, if I can just find some way... No, if I did it that way, no. Engage with your... Start a Q&A. Well, I found it. Okay, at least it allows me to do it from here as well. That's good. Uh, do 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 do. I just need the chat to be just off to the side, somewhere where I can view it. Because if I do this, followed by that, code-wise, yeah, that'll work. I mean, I could just, you know what? Yeah, I'll just do that. I'll just bring it over, do that. Uh, let's change you real quick. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Yep, I can see. Actually, I wish I could show you how. Oh, because it's off to the side. Put that there. Uh, there we go. That's what I'm seeing. Which I'm assuming might work. And because I just bring that up, bring it to the side, put that there, and I can see it. Let's see for you. That works too. I'll just keep doing it for this. But otherwise, yeah, I'll just need to reorganize how I'm gonna put it together. So for code, well, you don't, well, put that there, take you off. You know what? Yeah, this might be the best option I have. Shoot. I'm gonna look into this. I'm already gonna be hurting for the next few months. So yeah, YouTube is what I have to go for. I said I was gonna go all in. I might as well go all in. Uh, so I think I'll make this like a separate thing, and then let me see for okay. Oh, Blender. 'Cause that's gonna kind of. You know what? Yeah, that's what I'll do. Let's see how Blender goes. Oh, hello. Okay. Hold on. I'm so used to it. Yeah, and that's gonna cover so much of the screen. And if I do that, that's gonna cover a few more of the screen. I just need. Oof, no. I need a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into the whole um, second monitor idea, which I don't really want to do. Because what I want, let's take this for example. Take out the code because this gets modified, the window gets modified frequently, so that doesn't matter. But if I do this, synfig, just take one of the files I was already working on. Not image, window image? No. Do 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 do. Not you. This one. If I take this, put that there, right? And then put you under, but then, oh, OBS also falls off the window itself. Go here. That looks fine. That should be about it. But then, yeah, stream-wise, yeah, stream-wise, it's not that great. Uh, but I can see, at least. That's basically what I was looking for, essentially. And if I wanted code, like say I made a program for it, it wouldn't really work either. My best option is this, because I'm getting stuck at monitor. It's like I already don't have much space anyway. Do do do. I'll I'll look and see if we can find other programs already made for it. But other than that, I think this is the best option I have at the moment. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to work like this during streams. What about Blender? OBS, there you are. Blender. Yep, same thing. much smaller, which means, yeah, because like a fool I am, I decided to finally look on the other side of things. It's okay. You guys, uh, here's the thing though. Yeah, you guys don't need it, but I do. So either I keep it like this, yeah, which is full screen, but then I can't see anything from the chat, or let's see. Let me go see if 'cause that's the one thing. It's like what was it? Pseudonym. It's like, yeah, they say hi, didn't even realize it. So engrossed in the code that didn't even realize there's no pings, no nothing. Let's see, what do you call it? Extensions? Or not extensions, what do you call it? Add-ons? Yeah, seeing chat in game and everything else. No. Which I don't, yeah, I might decide to go back and do that at some point. Maybe. First is do a quick animation, try to test myself. Second, get the other ones going too. Need a the streaming is more or less just to keep the channel alive, I guess you would call it. Just so, showing that I'm still here type of thing. And since I can do a Q&A, start poll. Yeah, so it already has it there. That's decent. I can work from there. But my main issue is just being able to see the chat. Because I kept looking at OBS. But in chat streaming. Yeah. Yeah, because if I have something like that, that'll be great. So I'll go look through the options on that. There's 5 minutes left. I don't know. Because I prefer working, well, I mean, most people prefer to work in full window mode anyway. Uh, yeah. So I'm gonna have to do some searching on that. Start actually, working my way to find all these little things. Okay. But yeah. So I think this has devolved into chatting more or less. Or me chatting. Because at this point, I don't have a choice for the animations. The 3D stuff, yeah, Spartan's done. Working on game assets, which I should probably put on hold, giving how, well, the game engine's done, though, actually. Hold on. Program. No. Stop it. I don't need you doing that. I forgot what it was, but I think it just stops the code where you pointed at, which... no. Oh, right. Then I just put... Right, I took out the fogging. Took out the fog. Oh, right, no, the fragmentation. Yeah. And just to make sure you're still running. Kinda? Program. Oh, well, no. Bring... Stop it. Yeah, because I'll... Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. I wanted this. Now we can actually see. Because I have it to the point where I can... Oh, am I still streaming on myself? Or watching myself? Nope. Yeah. I need to go figure that one out. But yeah, making the 3D models, that's easy. Getting the textures, easy. Getting this to work, not so much, because everything else is what actually matters for the most part. So I have this. Um, It can kind of load models, but that's going to be work on my own. I need to be able to load different model files instead of just GLTF. That's more of a necessity of just adding stuff in so we can actually understand it. So I can actually put, you know, what I want in there. Which, I mean, I could just change the extensions when it's being exported. That way I can just use this, but no. Uh, what else? I mean, it can render. That's the main part. That's the biggest part. The rest is just how it renders, adding on to it. So, list-wise, I just need, outside of getting curious, being stupid, I just need something for the user interface, and I need something for audio. That's pretty much all I need at this point. I'm pretty much set. Yep, it still does it. Where am I? I'm lost. Okay. But, yeah. So, I'm gonna have to start looking into that. Because if I can do that, then I might be okay. Oh, and I need to deal with my little promise. So other than that, let's see. Bring you guys down to one window. There we go. So yeah, I'll have to look into it. I'll do all of that stuff. I think I'm gonna end it. Well, I might as well end it now. So other than that, yeah, next week I'll start working on something for the stream. I'll have to figure it out over the weekend. Well, quote unquote weekend. It's whatever time I actually have left. Other than that, I'm gonna try to get a video out sometime within a few days. And after that, yeah, I'm changing how I'm working and everything else. So we'll see how that comes to a head at the end of this month. How things pan out. After that, yeah, just keep improving, keep moving on. That's the only thing I can do now. So until Monday, bye. Our next video.